go ahead and call us into order to regular session. Thank you everybody for joining us. First, I'd like to ask you to join us in the flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I'd like to formally welcome our newest board member, Lisa Allen, this evening. We'll get to the oath and all the fun logistics shortly. We're going to start this evening with student presentation. Switch microphones. And we have two students this evening. One is here, and we're hoping that the other one is going to join us soon, shortly. During the 2014-15 school year, a group of Lincoln Street Elementary School 6th grade students wrote and published books for each elementary grade level as part of their anti-bullying work, promoting a strong and united community. Tonight it is my pleasure to introduce two of these students. We have with us already Ella Ragsdale, who will read an excerpt from her book. Ella, you want to go ahead and come on up?
Sure.
Go ahead. You tell me the short.
Yes, sure.
Sure. So you can read the whole thing. Absolutely.
Hi. I wrote this book for kindergarten. I helped with my kids write this book for kindergartners, and it was a lot of fun to make. One friend. Two friends. Three friends. One friend left out. All alone. One Lincoln Street Elementary School kindergarten teacher. Why are you all alone? They don't want to play with me and went off on their own. I feel so sad and all alone. I have an idea. Let's all force it down and talk things out. I am sure we can come up with a plan because working together is what friendship is all about. When three friends play together, there is so much you can do. You can play tag and hide and go seek, which are not games for two. Come on, friends, let's go and find something fun to do where all three of us friends can feel included too. And when there are three friends who all want to play, choose a game or activity, so three friends you'll stay. So the next time you feel alone and left out and don't know what to do, find a teacher who will help and make you and your friends, and who will help you and your friends make good choices for all of you.
These awesome illustrations. Are these your illustrations?
Yeah.
All right, you guys have seen the awesome illustrations because she went too quickly.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's all right.
Wow.
That's really cool.
So what was the assignment?
The assignment at hand was to write a book that was relatable to kindergartners, which in my case was like being left out, exclusion mainly, which can really tear friendships apart when you're little.
So did every 6th grade student write a particular book, and were you assigned a topic, or did you just come up with it on your own?
Like everybody came up with 3 topics for their grade level, and there were 2 groups for each grade level, and we had to make sure that we had our own original idea for our bullying book, and luckily the one that we chose was not taken, so we wrote our book about that.
Very good. And writing a book or outdoors, what was the best part of 6th grade?
Oh, no, it's pretty close.
And I would like to invite her friend Diana up. Diana Mendoza also wrote a book. All right, can you read your story to us?
Sure.
Okay.
So, my book title is Disconnect. Dedicated to Lincoln Street Elementary School, grade 6. Cyberbullies are bullies that you cannot see. They hide behind the keyboard and bully
That's okay. You're doing great.
They hide behind the mask of social media to emotionally hurt you, and who these friends are, you might not have a clue. If you're the victim, you might feel isolated, scared, or alone, and wonder how you might handle all this on your own. In case you're wondering just what to do, here's some advice from us to you. You can try to ignore it, but many times that's hard. Your feelings are hurt and it's all gone too far. Tell a friend, an adult, or someone you trust to help you confront the bully, because enough is enough. Stand up for yourself, be clear and be proud, so that anyone trying to cyberbully you knows it will not be allowed. If you're a bystander whose job is to step in, just watching, reading, or ignoring will not help the cyberbullying come to an end. If all else fails and nothing seems to change, remember you are in charge of your life, and what happens is yours to arrange. You can end the bullying, we're sure no one will object. Just give the cord a pull and disconnect.
So same thing, she also has awesome illustrations. I'm going to show you my favorite with her quote, "It's yours to arrange." Miss Grazer's going to take a picture of here. Here, come here. Yeah. You want to hold your book out so she can see the cover of your books?
And did you submit them online to get them printed in hard copy like that?
Our teacher sent them to the editor, and they did it from there. It's like, and I don't know exactly what it is, but it's on thing.
How cool to have a hard copy book that you wrote, huh? All right, we'll do 2 pictures. 1, 2, 3. Well, I lied. My camera's not cooperating. We'll do 1 more. Big smile, it's still summer, yay! All right, thank you.
Thank you so much. We talked earlier in work session about watching older students have an impact on younger students. What a great example again of our older students leading the way. And you are totally welcome to leave if you want. Our meetings can be long and boring. Our feelings will not be hurt. You're welcome to stay, but just a heads up.
Let's go.
It's summer, there's still daylight.
Thank you guys, nice job.
Thank you so much. And with that, I now have the privilege to administer oath of office. I'm going to start with Wayne. All right, I'm going to read this. I don't mess it up. Hold on, that's not the one I want. Oh, yes, I do have it. Okay, you have to repeat after me. And I got this little fun thing. I, Wayne Cliff, do solemnly swear
I, Wayne Cliff, do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Oregon,
the Constitution of the State of Oregon,
and the laws thereof,
and the laws thereof,
and the policies of Hillsboro School District 1J.
and the policies of Hillsboro School District 1J.
During my term, I will faithfully and impartially discharge
During my term, I will faithfully and impartially discharge
the duties of the office of school board member to the best of my ability,
the duties of the office of school board member to the best of my ability.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Certification. Miss Allen, come on up. Come on down. All right, you ready? Got the cameras all ready?
You guys can come on up.
Yeah, you can take pictures. Yeah. Come take pictures, please. Feel free. All right. I, Lisa Allen, do solemnly swear
I, Lisa Allen, do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Oregon,
the Constitution of the State of Oregon,
and the laws thereof,
and the laws thereof,
and the policies of the Hillsboro School District 1J.
and the policies of the Hillsboro School District 1J.
During my term,
During my term,
I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties
I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties
of the office of school board member to the best of my ability.
of the office of school board member to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Yay!
It's my pleasure to perform this deed. Trade signs.
Who knew? Trade signs.
I, Kim Strauchan,
I, Kim Strauchan,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Oregon,
the Constitution of the State of Oregon,
and the laws thereof,
and the laws thereof,
and the policies of the Hillsboro School District 1J.
and the policies of the Hillsboro School District 1J.
During my term,
During my term,
I will faithfully and impartially discharge
I will faithfully and impartially discharge
the duties of the office of school board member
the duties of the office of school board member
to the best of my ability, so help me God.
to the best of my ability, so help me God. And with that, we are new board. And now, with that, I would be looking for an approval of the agenda. Make a motion to approve the agenda. So moved by Jean, seconded by Monty.
Kim, did we want to amend that to remove the impact item later on?
Good point.
That's the consent.
No, this is the first agenda.
This is the agenda, yeah.
Yeah, so we would want to remove action item 8B.
So we need a motion to...
So I'll move that we amend the agenda to remove action item 8B.
I'll second that.
Okay, so the first item would be to amend the agenda to remove action item 8B, the Metro Policy Advisory Committee, moved by Eric, seconded by Glenn. Any questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Amended motion carries. With that, I'll go back to the original motion, which is approval of agenda, motion by Janine, seconded by Monty. Any questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And this is audience time. I don't believe we have any audience participation cards this evening. All right, moving right along. Next, I'd be looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Any questions on that? Yeah.
All right, so the one thing I was curious about was point N, the approval of parent organization activities for liability insurance. Now I know that various groups, they submit things and they get on this list somehow and we're supposed to approve it. But is there a criteria for getting on that list? The reason I ask that is because, like, for instance, I know, I'm familiar with Liberty Band Boosters, for instance, at Liberty High School. I noticed they're not on this list, but from what I understand, I'm not an officer on that organization anymore, but they submit their list of activities that they have to do, to the district, and it's not here, and so I'm wondering why. Is it because they're a corporation, or do we have something like that? The policy in my mind wasn't really clear for that.
Doing it. Who's want that? You take that one.
So there's a couple of possibilities. One, they could have separate insurance coverage. This is to provide district-covered insurance. So it's possible, one, that they have their own coverage. It's also possible, we do this quarterly. So it's possible that they don't have any activities that are coming up in the next quarter. I don't know. So you will be seeing this same consent agenda item 4 times throughout the year. So if somebody is not included in this, it's possible that we'll be picking them up later on in the school year.
Like, for instance, I know all the marching bands, all the high schools have marching band. The competitions start, they start practicing like in August and they start competing in September. So I would think all those groups should be on this list.
Yeah.
So
We have to rely on their compliance
Right.
to
We
submit.
reach out to each of the buildings and ask them to submit those. So we'll follow up with each.
Okay, so if they're not on this list, they're not covered, period.
In theory, that's true. We just started doing this at the request of our insurance company last year, I think was the first year we did it. Prior to that, it was basically if we told the insurance company that it was a covered event, they took our word for it. Now they want some kind of proof that the board is aware of the activities that they're covering. So that's the intent of this. So if they're not on there, we want to reach out to them and make sure that they are. And we'll be meeting with the building principals from each of the buildings and reinforcing that here whenever that first meeting is in August with all the administrators.
And they're not normally the activities of the students, it's like a family after hours activity. So parent clubs tend to do, like if they have a fall festival, it's not necessarily the band or the team or the club doing something, it's a more of a school-wide family event, was my understanding when I was a parent club leader, which the band may not have that kind of.
And that's what I was questioning. I didn't know what the story was. But I think there are a lot of groups in here that will be wanting to be part of this group.
Yeah. And as I say, we will be picking those up throughout the year.
Yeah. Janine?
I just was curious, and you might not know the answer, but I think this is for Adam again. Is that new letter L, the approve the resolution to extend the workers' compensation to volunteers? I've never...
No, we do that every year.
Really?
Yeah, we cover all of our volunteers under our workers' comp package so that school board members, anybody who's volunteering for the school district are covered in case something happens while they're here on our property.
Okay.
It's cheaper than covering them with.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, it's been moved by Glenn, seconded by Janine to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And now we move into our action item of the evening, which is to elect a board chair and vice chair for the 15-16 school year. I'm going to confirm our paperwork. So the first piece we'll do an election for the chair, and then we'll do a separate election for the vice chair, and then we will switch seats, some of us, potentially. So I'm looking for a nomination for board chair.
I nominate Wayne Cliff.
Okay, and I do not need a second on these. Is there any nominations for any other candidates? All right. So I'm going to go ahead.
Does he accept?
I do
I'm
accept.
going to assume based on our conversation
I know.
with the work session, that's a good point. So, and then, I'm just trying to read the criteria if I'm supposed to take nominations for the vice chair now, or if that's after I elect the chair. My apologies.
It's probably after, so that someone can run for vice chair if they didn't get to be chair.
Well, with that, Wayne Clift has been nominated to be our board chair. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Welcome aboard. Next, I would be looking for nominations for vice chair.
I nominate Glenn Miller for vice chair. Or I need to nominate? I should, nobody else.
I nominate, that's good. And are there any other nominations for vice chair? All right, hearing none. It's Glenn Miller has been nominated vice chair. All those in favor, please say aye.
Did you accept?
Oh, sorry, the whole accepting part. It's just telling people what to do. Thank you. Glenn has accepted the nomination, so then I'm looking for a vote. All those in favor of Glenn as vice chair, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations, Glenn and Wayne. Wayne and I are going to do a quick shuffle.
Not respected enough.
Look back. I'll take my wine bottle. Thank you.
As it turns out, that leaves no action items to actually carry out on my first board meeting. So we will move directly to reports and discussions and start with the curriculum adoption cycle, postponed selection of instructional materials by that.
I'm being Travis tonight, so I thought I would come up to the podium. First off, we're going to talk about the curriculum adoption cycle, and most of remember seeing this in the past. We have a requirement under Division 22 to notify the board and the state Department of Education if we intend to delay our adoption of adopted curriculum materials. And due to budget reductions over several years, we are definitely in that position again where we have to notify that we will be postponing the adoption of several different curriculums, including world languages, health and PE, social science, and art. Science is listed additionally, and I did ask Travis for clarification about this because I know that we're in process of doing science adoption this upcoming school year. And basically it's, we were supposed to have already adopted science standards, and because we haven't and they're not ready to be fully implemented in this coming school year, that needs to be on our list as well. But do know that that is our curriculum adoption that we'll be working on in the 15-16 school year. And of course, we did just wrap up our adoption of math materials at the high school level last year, and those will be in place this year. Just a point of interest, I don't know if you all already know this, but students are going to be continually assessed under the current Oregon standards for science until a new assessment that's in line with the NGSS gets put in place in the 18-19 school year. So it'll be kind of that transition time frame like we've had with the Common Core subjects these last few years. So if there's any questions, I can write them down and take them back to Travis, or I can move on to the curriculum or to the course adoption report.
Any questions?
You can email too, right?
Of course, yeah.
So the question
I'm
was,
sorry.
this doesn't imply that if you're delaying the science criteria or the science curriculum that you're working on this year, that is the plan.
Right.
And this year with the intent of having it ready for next year.
Yeah, and Travis did note that, we're kind of continually finding and vetting different science materials that do fit within the new next-gen science standards. So we're continually kind of putting those in our set of available resources. It's just to have a full set of adopted curriculum that won't be in place probably till the end of the school year for science. And so to move on to the new course adoption report, as you recall, last school year the board approved 2 new courses, one being mariachi band and the other being the community service learning elective. Mariachi won't be offered for the first time until this fall, so we're going to hold off on giving you an update on that until it's been in place. But the community service learning elective was an option for students. And the way they could take advantage of that is if a student had an opportunity to do either an internship or a series of community service type activities during their school day, that they could do that and get credit for it. So if they did 65 hours within a semester, that could get them a semester's worth of credit of 0.5, or 130 hours during the course of a year, they could earn a full credit. So I don't believe we had any students that actually got the full year credit, but we had 20 students who were awarded a semester credit. The vast majority of those were from Liberty High School because Ramona Toth structured an activity in partnership with the MIC program, if you've heard of that, the Integrated Kidney Education Program. They actually partner with Pacific University medical students, and a current Pacific med student will work with a team of 4 high school students, and they together work on health projects that are aimed at improving awareness about how to care for your overall health, but focusing on your kidney health and that kind of thing. And so that was a really great outcome for the first year. So there was, like I said, 17 Liberty students took advantage, 1 Glencoe and 2 Hill High. And so hopefully now that it's kind of got a year under its belt, then more people will take advantage of that in the coming years.
On the mariachi, you mentioned it wasn't being offered until fall, so you mean like in September?
Uh-huh.
Okay, but that was the plan all along, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't think, because it was presented during last year, and I don't think they were prepared to start it for a second semester, so.
Okay, that's what I thought. Just making
Yeah.
sure. Thanks.
And just much appreciation to the board for approving these courses. It's great to have additional options for students. Okay, thanks.
Okay. Next we have financial.
The big news in the business office is that the fiscal year 2014-15 is over. We processed 4 different payrolls in the month of June. Got everybody paid, got all of our contracts wrapped up, and the financial data that you see here, it does not necessarily reflect a year-end. This is not going to be the final numbers that you see. This was prepared in mid-June, so we do have some additional revenues and expenditures that you'll be seeing as we finalize the 14-15 school year. But everything's in place for the start of the 15-16 school year. We just actually ran our first payroll of the new school year, so we're off and running on the new school year. But I'm happy to answer any questions from
any ideas on workman's comp? Why our staff
the
is so
numbers?
far over?
No, I have the same question, and I haven't had a chance to get that answer. I will, and I'll put that in the board update.
We were doing great there for 2 years.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
out
yeah.
of sight.
Yeah.
Related questions. Is there a regular process for monitoring?
There are. In fact, that's one of the roles of our building safety committees are to review each of the incidents that occurs in their building, both student accident and staff accident, to determine if there's patterns developing, if there's something we need to do on a district basis, or if it's a building by building issue. So yes, we do track those, and I will need to look at the loss runs to determine if those are 87, just to determine the severity. Remember, workers' comp rates are set both on frequency and severity, so it could be that we had a whole lot of not very severe incidents. I'll have to do some checking on that.
Report back out in like a weekly update? Is that what
Yeah.
that is?
Yeah.
Any questions for Adam? Okay. We are moving along into our reports. Maureen?
Hi. I don't generally check into the office very much in July. I am concerned that I'm receiving voicemails with questions like how much time do people have to give when they're going to resign, and questions about how bargaining is going, because people are looking at some other districts. It may not just be about an increase in salary, but a better insurance cap or more prep time or smaller classes. So, and that's, I'm going to segue into the telesurvey. Thank you for bringing that up. Sorry, Mike. The telesurvey was sponsored by Chalkboard, OSBA, Oregon Department of Education, COSA, OEA. I wasn't aware that they had decided to go ahead and survey again, but even though I'm not a statistician, but that we were told 50% of schools had to participate before the information would be shared. And we were also told that the goal is not necessarily to put a magnifying glass on one district, but to show where there might be consistently evidence that a lack of sufficient time or collaboration would impact student learning. So besides Oregon, there are 20 states and over 1 million educators. All this is on their website if you want to look at that. And they do it mostly to look for support for public education, to say this really is a valid concern and that's why we should be supporting education. So they look at how improving teaching conditions can impact teacher retention, improve student learning, new recruitment, and especially bringing teachers to hard-to-staff schools. So it's not supposed to be a gotcha. I'm sure it could be used that way if you just looked at some of the data, but the idea is to look at what it takes to really develop a positive public education system. Thanks.
summer school yesterday, and nearly 600 kids are participating. Just a hub of activity there. They are in their last week, and it's just gratifying to see that so many students sign up for that and participate in that opportunity. We're in the midst of continuing to hire some administrators with some late exits out of state, and that has caused a domino effect that we are still addressing, and we hope to have that wrapped up in the next couple of weeks. And the final thing is welcome to you.
All right, board discussion time, or board director's time. We start, Glenn.
Well, first off, congratulations, Lisa, of course. I had a great time this weekend when we were at our bid conference. We got the number quite a bit better than before. So I enjoyed doing that and learning that we had as well. So it was just a great weekend all around. It's really, outside of graduation, is one of my favorite things to do for the schools is to come and reconnect with other board members from across the state. That's pretty much all I got.
So thank you to all the banners. I love the banners. It's very, very cool in here. And is that bad?
That was from the Proud VHSC Festival.
That is Proud. Oh, okay. It's very cool. And I had the opportunity to visit the Girls Get It camp last week, and I actually will be visiting again on Friday. I was invited to a 5-year event on Friday, and was super excited. And I don't plan this. I happened to go on a Wednesday, and they were making chocolate cake with power tools. I didn't plan it. I didn't say, please invite me when there's going to be chocolate cake, but I was, and I got to make it, and it was really cool to be in the group with the kids. It doesn't just affect, this camp doesn't just affect our kids here in Hillsboro. In my small little group, we had someone from Portland, someone from Beaverton, someone from Hillsboro, and these kids are just learning amazing things, and it's so great to see. I know Monty I know you were up on the board as a supporter and visitor, and I know that these students go through the camp and then they come back and they volunteer through this camp. And a lot of them, one of the gals from the Portland one, had tried to get into the camp before, and it fills up so quick. And so she was so happy to be able to get in this time. And they have a second week, which is this week, and it's really exciting to see girl power in action. And Savannah and Ashley and their family that supports it, and some of you are too young to know this, but their work is continuing. Their work is going like that Fabergé commercial. So on and so on. Now one of the students that has attended the camp helps at the camp and is now going to be doing it, I think, at Valley Catholic, or no, St. Mary's in Portland. She's going to be doing a camp. And her mom was there volunteering and helping. So it's pretty exciting and pretty incredibly impressive to see what the detail that these girls do to organize this camp. Had the opportunity to participate in the run on the runway for HSF. It's a fundraiser. I was a volunteer and a cowbell ringer, and I love this event. Not everyone, as one guy said from the Air Force, I've been in the Air Force for 20 years, and I've never had an opportunity to run on the runway. So I just think, need to get that word out more and more to people to attend that event. It is a 5K, and it is well organized and super fun. I am excited about all the leadership changes. I'm sad to see Steve go and Matt go. Incredibly talented, well-educated, really a fantastic fit, and helped our district in many ways. But it is something to say that in your heart that they go for family reasons away, and so that something is a little easier to take. I wish them well, and know that they will be incredible principals where they are. And I was curious about, this just came to me in the thing, for future discussion. I was kind of curious about the idea with the 2017, the free community college for students. I'm curious how that works in with our dual credit programs, and how that's going to look for high schools. And yeah, it's really interesting to me. So, yeah, if somehow we can find out, that's something that I thought of, so.
Lisa, welcome, and congratulations to Wayne and Glenn for their overwhelming victory. Chair and Vice Chair. Go ahead.
Well, again, I just want to echo the others in welcoming Lisa. She did an amazing job on the curriculum committee, and I'm sure she'll do the same here. And also congratulations to our new chair and vice chair.
Okay, so also I want to just echo congratulations to Wayne and Glenn. It was a hard-fought campaign for chair and vice chair. I'm really excited. I also echo about what Wayne said. It's a great time event, as I said in the work session. At the OSD training, I've been really enjoying the trainings. I've been doing a lot of trainings. So it's been a lot of fun. And one thing that I didn't get to mention in the work session that I'll mention now is I got a little bit more fired up about legislative advocacy than I had been before. And something I've kind of always been involved in and really like, but now I have a title and I'm going to take that with me when I go. And I have some good notes which I'll share with Val to share with you guys from that session. But it's gotten me really excited about some things that we can do together for the next biennium. And the run on the runway that Dean talked about, did not get to do that this year because I was in Bend doing training, but I ran in 5K last year, and I'm hoping that the dates will line up and I can run in this next year because it's awesome. Last thing, the girls get it. I'm going on Friday too. I was invited. I'm really excited. I've seen them present at different functions that I've been at, and they do some really interesting work, so I'm excited to see you in action. And also, I'm really glad to be here.
Well, I have enjoyed, I said it earlier, being chair. My kids today asked me, I said, I think when I leave the meeting I won't be the chair anymore. They're like, oh, that's awful. I said, I get Wednesday mornings back. There's a silver lining in all things, right? I wanted to just highlight a couple community partnerships that are happening over the summer. One is just Hillsboro Park and Rec, and the amazing amount of opportunities they provide for our students, and specifically this week started Camp AMP and the Art Summer Camp, which is a collaboration between the Park and Rec and the school district. And I've had students go through it, and they're always excited. This is an opportunity for kids as young as 6th grade to pick up an instrument. They've never picked up an instrument, and by the end of 2 weeks they form a rock band and put on a concert. And it's a big deal if you're a 6th grader. Or if you're a high school student. And the other is at the Tuesday Market this year, thanks to Brooknova and the College Career Pathways, there's the teen market happening at Tuesday Market. There is a separate area with teen vendors who are getting advice from financial planners and business leaders to create and market products and what to do when they earn their profits. Should they build their business? Should they save their money? What should they be doing? And I haven't had the chance with my other activities this summer to go there, but I understand it's going really well. And so just
even social classes they do.
Yeah, there's all kinds of different stuff there, and they're cycling through. So my understanding is I can't remember how many vendors it is. I think it's 12 are during the first half of the summer and 12 are during the second half of the summer. So more students are served, and I just think that's awesome. Again, just another way for kids to get great experiences.
This is me.
It's you.
Welcome, Lisa. Advocate, congratulations. It's great to have you. I'm humbled by the support, and I will endeavor to fulfill the board chair responsibilities as best I can. I was going to comment on Girls Get It as well. Be a bunch of us there, it sounds like. And I was really excited. I've known Savannah for years and years, since her earliest robotics days. And it's been fantastic to her as an example of what kids can do when we take off. And then her whole family is great. And it's very nice to hear about how it grows and how it can take on a life without the initiators and have a future. It's always a struggle with programs that come up to find ways to sustain and to keep the enthusiasm going and through that volunteer effort. So that's a wonderful way to combine a program that brings in volunteers from the past recipients. It's been an amazing program. Everyone enjoy. With that, I should point out that this is probably the earliest pending board meeting of my career so far in 4 years. And call it a close. Thank you.